Leonardo da Vinci was born on April the 15th, 1452 in Vinci, Italy. He was the son of Ser Piero, a lawyer. At the age of 14, Da Vinci started apprenticing for the artist Verrocchio. For 6 years, he then learned about technical artistic skills such as metalworking, drawing, and sculpting. At the age of 20, he was then a qualified master artist from the Guild of St. Luke. In 1482, Leonardo da Vinci left to Milan, where he had been offered the job of court artist by the Duke of Milan. While in Milan, Leonardo da Vinci was believed to reach the highest point of his career, innovating, creating inventions, painting, and discovering many new things. In 1499, when the Duke of Milan was overthrown by the French, Leonardo left Milan. He traveled to Venice, however only briefly, and then traveled to Mantua. In 1500, Leonardo da Vinci returned to Florence, where he was highly adored by many followers and was believed to be an inspiration to many young artists. In 1506, Leonardo da Vinci was called back to Milan by the French governor in charge of Milan to create the equestrian statue. In 1513, Leonardo went to Rome, where he spent most of his time filling notebooks with scientific knowledge. During 1516, the French King Francis I invited Leonardo da Vinci to his court at Fontainebleau, giving him the title of first painter, architect, and mechanic to the king. Leonardo died on the 2nd of May, 1519. The main artist which inspired Leonardo da Vinci was Vitruvius, a Roman architect from the classical period. Leonardo da Vinci used Vitruvius as his inspiration when creating the Vitruvian Man, which focused on the proportions of a human body. Vitruvius also inspired Leonardo da Vinci, since one of Vitruvius' theories was that a human could be symmetrically inscribed with both a circle and a square. Leonardo then used this theory for the Vitruvian Man, but also for some other works such as architecture. Two of the main ways how artists from the classical period inspired Leonardo da Vinci were through the idea of realism and perspective. Before the Renaissance, the main art style used was symbolism, which was used to portray different religious ideas. However, Leonardo da Vinci used realism in his paintings. One example when he used realism was when he painted the Mona Lisa. Realism focused on making an image or painting look as accurate and as realistic as possible, with the proportions being accurate. Leonardo da Vinci also used perspective by adding depth into his paintings. Another way how Leonardo da Vinci was inspired was with the idea of rationalism. During the classical period, one of the main ideas was that statements or ideas should be supported by proven knowledge or fact. Leonardo applied this in his research, but also art, since he studied different components before using them. Leonardo da Vinci had many innovations and inventions in many different categories. Even though Leonardo da Vinci hated the idea of death and war, since he needed money to support his household, he designed many weapons. The most famous inventions which related to war was the 33-barreled organ, the tank, and the giant crossbow. These inventions were so popular since they focused on two main points. One, which was the speed, and second was their efficiency. The most famous mechanical innovations and inventions which Leonardo created was the accurate version of the clock, the revolving bridge, the scuba gear, the anemometer, the self-propelled car, the robotic knight, and the middle lock. He also was a very passionate painter and painted many famous paintings. For example, he painted the Virgin on Rocks, the Last Supper, and the world-famous Mona Lisa. Leonardo da Vinci was also very interested in the field of anatomy and therefore innovated the Vitruvian Man. One of Leonardo's greatest passions, however, was the flight machines. He made the first plane, aerial screw, and parachute. The main reasons why Leonardo da Vinci's work is so famous is because it's unique, ahead of its time, and since it has inspired many other artists. Leonardo's inventions were all very thought through and were needed in society. Leonardo da Vinci's inventions and innovations had many changes to society. One of the main ways of how Leonardo da Vinci's inventions and innovations changed society is specifically focusing on his war machines, such as the 33-barreled organ or his giant crossbow. Leonardo did not just look at the physical effects of war, but also the psychological. Many of his weapons were built to intimidate the opposing forces. One of Leonardo da Vinci's key beliefs was that mobility was the key to success. He implemented this idea on many different areas of his work, ranging from his studies on mechanical engineering, but also on his war machines. Due to this, Leonardo da Vinci affected society in terms of inspiring more people to focus on mobility. Leonardo da Vinci also affected society since he influenced and inspired many artists such as Raphael. These artists then used and continued using his ideas, making them more popular. He also influenced society due to his style of painting, which combined arts, math, anatomy, and science. One more way how Leonardo da Vinci affected society is that he began questioning the Bible and the stories it contains. For example, after analyzing shells from the sea, he started questioning the biblical story of the flood. Leonardo found that the shells could not have been deposited to the mountain after just a 40-day flood, since it would take many years to do so. This changed society since the church's power kept on declining, since more people began to realize that the ideas and information spread by the church were false or hid the truth. In different fields which Leonardo studied, he had various impacts, ranging from revolutionary to innovative. One of Leonardo da Vinci's greatest achievements in the science field is that he started the scientific revolution. This was a revolution since Leonardo's ideas and research in various types of sciences went against the belief of the church. Leonardo was a rationalist who wanted to prove everything scientifically or with specific evidence, and therefore made a revolutionary impact on society. Leonardo da Vinci was also revolutionary since he studied anatomy by inspecting corpses. This was highly revolutionary since the idea of investigating the dead body was highly countered and hated by the church and its followers. Not all of Leonardo da Vinci's ideas, creations, designs, or artworks had revolutionary impact on society. Most were innovative when Leonardo either invented or built on other people's ideas to create new or better objects. However, many of Leonardo's inventions were actually never implemented in his society. They were only found much later in his workbooks. Leonardo da Vinci had many lasting influences on many different fields. One of Leonardo da Vinci's main impacts on the field of anatomy was actually dissecting human and animal corpses to find out the structure, bones, and other components of the bodies. Leonardo da Vinci then did not just use this information for the field of anatomy, but applied it to other fields. One of Leonardo da Vinci's main impact on the field of art was his style of connecting anatomy to art. When drawing images, he studied them for a very long time. He studied the postures and figures of men and the anatomy of the eye before painting humans. Leonardo da Vinci had many impact on the science field. However, most of this information was found years after his death. However, one of Da Vinci's greatest impacts was to help make the idea of rationalism more popular. Before Leonardo da Vinci, this idea was already beginning to become more popular. However, many people still did not believe or even know of its existence. One of his main impacts was his invention of the self-powered robot and the self-powered car. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the first inventors to use cranks, coils, and springs. This then had a large impact on the field of engineering, since a new way of creating technology was introduced and made more popular.